Greetings from the Asian Productivity Organization, Secretariat, Tokyo, Japan. Welcome to all our viewers to the APO's Productivity Talk, a series of webinar discussion on the topics of productivity. This talk is presented by APO, Asian Productivity Organization. I am Asai Thambi Manikam from the APO Secretariat, the facilitator of today's discussion. Small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, is a critical engine for both local and global economy. Plunging demand of SMEs products associated with the ongoing global endemic has forced them to lay off workers, and many don't have the necessary resources to survive in this climate. According to a recent survey conducted by OECD, in many countries, up to one-third of SMEs could go bust within 3 months of when the epidemic began in their countries. Due to its sizable impact on employment and its significance in the economy, the viability of SMEs will be critical to any post-crisis recovery. SMEs account for two-thirds of global employment and half of global GDP. A failure to address their recovery and regrowth could put their entire global economy at risk. Our discussion today will focus on the growth hacking strategies that can be deployed as well as on the opportunities available for SMEs post-pandemic. Apart from the widely accepted recipe to deepen the implementation of digital transformation, the regrowth strategy should also be directed towards instilling more agility to SMEs in its business model, operations strategies, etc. The post-COVID world, according to many, will not be a return to business as usual, and SMEs need to adopt to the new reality facing our economies and societies. To discuss about the subject, I am very much delighted to welcome Mr. Tushar Sharma from New Delhi, India. Really appreciate for your time in sharing your knowledge and experience on this important subject. How are you, Mr. Tushar Sharma?
Hi, Asai. I'm good. Thank you for having me for this session. Really glad to be here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure with us. Mr. Sharma is an experienced consultant with the Tata Consultancy Services Limited. He has been a project manager with around 16 years of rich and vast experience in all phases of software development lifecycle and software testing lifecycle. For almost 11 years, he has also been involved to provide consultancy to SMEs in India on the projects such as automation process services, IT as a service offering, supply chain, and many others. Before I invite Mr. Tushar Sharma to start his presentation, we would like to encourage all our viewers to send your questions and comments in the chat box with your name and country, and we would respond to your questions during Q&A session. Mr. Tushar, now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sai. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I will now start with my presentation. And over the period of next couple of 20 to 30 minutes, I can say, I will take you to the journey of the post-pandemic SME regrowth. As you correctly said, the new normal is not going to be the same or what it was there post-pandemic. COVID has showcased our hidden talent. It has given us the opportunities in the time of the uncertainties. And as we can see, the world has gone to the online mode. The very first example I can say, we used to have physical presences all over the world. Even the conferences that we used to do, it was used to be in person, the physical mode over there. But now all our learning, the business, every aspect of our life has moved to online growth. So as we move in this area, let me just move my presentations. So in today's topic, we are going to discuss on SMEs during the pandemic, that is strategy for resilience, post-pandemic challenges, post-pandemic opportunities, growth hacking strategies, and conclusion. So as we say, many organizations have stepped out to the challenge and adapting their businesses to protect their employees and to continue serving their customers and communities. As we recall, when this pandemic started, people were not ready for that. In fact, the organizations were not ready for that. Many people have to migrate to their cities since all the lockdown happens across all the world. I can give you an example of India. When in India the lockdown happened, the migration happens a lot. Companies move from their physical organizations mode of working in a closed office space to online mode. We can often see the open to close and now close to open things getting done. Now, since the pandemic is getting over, we can see the signs. Sorry, we are close to getting open. People have to survive in this pandemic. There is no other thing that is there currently. They have to live with this pandemic. In a survey that happens for the SMEs in post-pandemic, we can see the shift in consumer behavior. 65% increase in online buying behavior we can see. Earlier, people were not keen to go to a digital mode due to certain aspects of there. People were not comfortable. People don't know how to use that. With this aspect of pandemic change, this definitely has increased the percentile use of the online buying. Different payment options. 80% opted for different pay options. Earlier, it used to be only one payment mode. I personally, I can recall when I used to go online mode post pre-pandemic. I used to know only, okay, I need to use only my credit card or debit card for that. Now, instant online other options are there, which organizations has provided for that. In cross-border trading, 9 in 10 business grown through cross-border trade. So this pandemic has given an opportunities to break the barriers of the border. Now businesses are running across the border. As we can see in the study, 9 in 10 business grown through cross-border trading for that. The percentile increase in this is been 86% increase. 86% increase happened for this. Ways to growth business in that aspect, 56% selling happened on the social media during this pandemic phase. Percentage increase in payments, 46% accepting more payment options for this. Expanding business aspect, we see 49% but keen on expanding business on that. People have the avenue for this, for the growth. People know now, hey, we have this new options. Rather than only depending on our physical mode, we have this online option where we can expand and grow. The areas impacted by COVID. So in this study, there are some as we say, every coin has a flip, a positive and a negative side. The positive side that we can see is more delivery options available, 33% increase, better transaction options, 32 percentile, increase broader trade, that is 31%, increase offering demand, 30%, more online customers happen for that. But with all these positives, they comes the negative side of that. Supply chain issues happen for that, logistic difficulties happen, and decrease in the demand happens, that is 20% for that happens with this. How SMEs can build resilience during pandemic. In this slide, as we see, there is a core area, leadership and personal resilience over here. The leadership is the one aspect of every organization with respect to SME or any big organization, where they have to show the aspect and characteristics for that. They have to build the leadership and personal resilience and provide that qualities and the aspect to all the people. We have to build the resilient operations. Operations is one of the things that we have to re-emerge from with all the new challenges and the different existing day-to-day businesses. We have to build resilient organizations, building resilient revenue, and building resilient finance for that. SMEs resilience in time of crisis. So these are some enablers of resilience. Over here, broadly, three categories we have divided, like assets and resourcefulness, competitiveness, learning and culture. So in asset and resourcefulness, we need to have material, financial, social, network, intangible assets. In dynamic capabilities, you need to be flexible, some sort of redundancy, robustness, and networking. In learning and culture, leadership, top management decision making, collective sense making, and employee well-being. As we see, like all these three criterias enables for the SME resilience. So if we go by learning and culture, as I discussed, the leadership, top management decision making has to be there for that to enable the resilience. Collectiveness has to be there. Employee well-being is one of the biggest criteria that every organization has to look and go for that, as employees are the heart of the company for every organization. They have to look for the employee well-being for that. The competitiveness, as we say, flexibility, uh, flexibility. So organization has to be flexible for operating in this new pandemic phase. They have to robust and they need to have a good networking for that. Similarly, for the assets, the networking, intangible, social material, the all these three aspects adds to the SME resilience. Uh, in one of the other findings of one of the study, we can see like firstly in the first the 3 points over here I have mentioned over here. So roughly half of the executive reported that crisis explored the weaknesses in their company's strategic resilience. People were not aware, people were unaware, like all of a sudden something happened, something will come one day and it will disrupt the business, it will disrupt people's life. It happened and it will happen in the future also. Second, business model innovation was far by the most important strategic lever in addressing the crisis. 90% felt the company response to the uh, pandemic was effective. Business didn't stop, people moved to their home location. The organization made the challenges and the opportunities for the employees to regrow from that. Organizations worked, they operate during the pandemic also, and they find out their best possible way come to further grow in that. 60% of executive polls, they said they expect these innovations to persist beyond the crisis with more projects to come. As we can see, the pandemic, it is not yet over and we never know which is the new variant that is going to come and all. So the innovations that persist, people expect they should continue beyond this phase also. So over here we can see like for the business resilience, there are three categories. If you see from the left side, the dynamic capabilities, technology capabilities, agile leadership, these three fuse the inputs to the innovation ambidextry along with the knowledge stock, and that knowledge stock also goes to the business resilience. Also, we can see the impact of the global pandemic that adds to the flow of innovation ambidextry to business resilience and to knowledge stock for that. People have to be dynamic capable, that they have to be technology capable, the agile leadership, they have to be knowledgeable for that to regrow and resurface from the issues that they face and to continue to survive in the further pandemic phase that may come in the future for that. Over here we'll see like how business model applying business model with focus on so first experience we see is the digital experience, which all we know, like we all are connected through digital now. You make a smartwatch, handheld device, an internet capable device. We have the products that run on these uh, things. Customer behavior has changed impeccably. People were not keen to use the devices earlier, online mode specifically, but now they know like the survival for this phase of pandemic and for future is the digitization for that. New partnership both within and outside of the industry. In this pandemic phase, it has given the new avenues for the organizations to partner with different other organizations. As we can see from one of the examples, an insurance group partnered with the connectivity provider to set up virtual clinic, and a pharmaceutical company have been teaming up directly with the healthcare center to accelerate vaccine development. People know like they have to partnership with the different firms and to grow together for that. Supply chain and operating model adjustments to manage risk. As we seen in one of my earlier slides, like supply chain was one of the things that got impacted for that. So companies are trying to balance the need for just-in-time delivery with protection against delays or shutdowns by securing alternate sources of supplies and ensuring that the labor force can continue to operate. Every business wants to run each day, every second, every minute. They don't want to lose their business. And for that, the adjustments of the model and the operating models have to be changed. Sales model changes. There's very I put one image for that. So where the boss is saying, I don't want to change, I want all of you to change. So change is the new norm. We have to change as per the situations and the be flexible for the new challenges that are coming up. Many businesses had to adopt the way they market and sell their offering. From logistic companies, they have introduced contactless delivery to restaurant, shifting to home delivery and pickup orders. I can give you a very real-time example. Like if we order a takeaway food, I can give one Domino's example. Now, when Domino's deliver their pizza, they market in their advertisement and the promotions that they are doing contactless delivery. Everybody wants to be and healthy and don't want to get reinfected for that. Same DNA has gone into the organizations uh, to ensure like the market and the selling of the products are safe and it goes in line with the customer what they look for. Faster product development through more rapid iterations. For example, telecom companies working with insurance and healthcare providers quickly. In this process, we can see an idea has been originated. They define that, they test that initially before actually going for the uh, actual implementation of the designing part. They brand it, they fund it, they make it, and they launch it for that. So faster product development for rapid iteration process is being implemented, and it has helped a lot. We can see the vaccination programs. Vaccination programs was the example that we can see. Like world got the vaccinations within a very short span of time. People normally don't expect that vaccinations will come that early. It has been said also in the news, like vaccinations normally goes through all the processes and a faster time for that to actually see the rapidness or the effectiveness of that vaccination. Though the vaccinations has given and followed all the processes, but the rapid response was more. Now, the challenges for SMEs post-pandemic, we can see business landscape has become much more precarious due to protracted uncertainty and confusion in pandemic response approaches. Disruption is everywhere, and leaders need to closely watch these three critical deliveries of risk. That is political, technological, and societal. But, so, as we see the challenges part, SMEs have to manage the following challenges: a dearth of skilled employees. We can see like every organization need employees, and that to skill employees. It added their values. They know, organizations know, if we have the skill employees, it doesn't matter if we have 5 employees, 10 employees, or 100 employees, but the employees that they have, they should be skilled. Even though they are able to deliver the work, it should be the work that is for the organization and for the people. For that, they should be able to specialize, and they should be able to make the products that organization wants for the people. Lack of access to capital and unclear returns on investment, this is one of the more challenges that SME faces. They faces the issues with the capital and the returns on their investment. A need to revamp their firm's infrastructure and processes, as we discussed in pre-pandemic area. uh, Firms infrastructure were not that great. Many firms were running on their physical capabilities. They were not at all aware of the digital aspect, like their firm can run on the digital platform also. And similarly, the processes, they were having not that great process, but they eventually implemented the process, and now SMEs followed that, and they are able to run their businesses in this pandemic area. A need to update information technology and operation technologies. As we say, SMEs had these challenges of the information technology and operational technology aspect. Many people are not that aware of the technology aspect, but slowly they are picking it up and going for the idea related and operation technology purpose. Navigate a nascent technology landscape that is currently posed to serve larger companies. So this aspect we can see it nascent technology landscape. The innovation part definitely will be a challenge for that. The SMEs has to innovate for that in order to survive. In this diagram, we can see like the lack of operational cash flow, as we discussed, the drop in demand for product and services, businesses is close, reduction of opportunities to meet new clients, issues with challenges business strategies to offer alternate products and services. So SMEs find difficulties obtaining raw materials, providing logistics, shipping products, and workers were also not able to return to work due to the pandemic and the global lockdown that happened uh, across the countries and across the regions for that. What are the opportunities for SMEs post pandemic? Now, as I discussed, this pandemic has definitely given the plus and the positive side of uh, its behavior as aspect. It has touched the human life, organizational lives. So these are the opportunities that we can see: diversification of international supply chain, both geographically and technology wise, as business increase build resilience. Well capitalized technology companies with large network of users and vast amount of digital data are better positioned to seize the opportunities offered by the crisis. E-commerce platform with large number of users may quickly expand into e-payments, while large online urban mobility platforms are better positioned to expand into online delivery. Such opportunities could be materialized through early acquisition of startups, potentially limiting competition. So we can see the opportunities lies in the e-commerce platform. For that, they have people know how to use the online platform. They know uh, uh, they know now, at least, like if they are well equipped for the these sort of pandemics, they will be very well and much matured for the next phases of their growth. These are some strengths SWOT analysis. Commonly, we know we can see with the term perspective the strengths that are there. That is a local management, short-term strategy. They have resilience, adaptability, strategic alliances, and ambidextrity. In the weaknesses, we can see the SMEs have scarce financial resources, gap of technological knowledge is there, limited manager knowledge, loss of knowledge. They don't have any process for that to retain. Like if one people know or employee know specific information for the thing that they are working on, they don't have the process like we say like the KMS or the learning management system where they can record and have that knowledge been retained for them. Liability of smallness. SMEs are very small for that. Oftenly people see like they are small and then they may not be able to compete with the big businesses. Accessing government funding, that is one of the weakness. At times government things many times before actually going for the funding for them. If you see the opportunities, they are open to innovation. Social media aspect has come up, as I discussed. It has immensely, social media has immensely grown up now for the benefit of the people and for the organizations specifically. Lines of credit, turnkey digital technologies, discovering new market and a global value change are the opportunities that SMEs can go for that. Threats, we can say the ROE delay, undercurse of underuse of digital technologies, social media generativity, data sharing with competitors, market new entrants, and recovery from pandemic. So as we see, these are the strength, weakness, opportunities, and the threats that are there, and we have to look, and SMEs has have to look for them to better be prepared and gauge them where they were earlier, where they are currently, and where they will be in the future for that. In this slide, we see the growth strategies for SMEs in post-pandemic. One of the terms that oftenly we can see is the growth hacking. As you see, the core of these three circles, growth hacking has been mentioned over here. So the question comes of what is growth hacking? So growth hacking is a methodology typically used by early stage startups. These emerging companies need to grow quickly and cheaply to get their business off the ground. I can say like the SMEs which are making some products. I will take one example of a toothbrush. So in toothbrush, as we know, many big large firms are already making that. They're already in the market. So how a new entrant of SME come and hack that market or bring their growth in? The answer would be the innovation for that. They have to innovate with the products that they are having, and that is how they're going to bring the growth for them. In this, I can I in this we can see, as I was discussing, the product a toothbrush, and in the circle we can see the SME can bring in the innovation of that an eco-friendly toothbrush. We all have the toothbrush with us. Many big firms, we know, market is flooded with the brush. But if an SME wants to enter into that, they can see what sphere of a circle, on what segment of a market they can go and bring their product that helps to showcase and bring the growth in that. Thus it helps the environment conscious mindset people. So as I said, if I'm an SME, I thought to plan, okay, let me get into the market of the toothbrush. If I introduce my eco-friendly toothbrush, it will serve two purposes for me. First, I will be able to differentiate my product, that is eco-friendly toothbrush, and also environment consciousness mindset. People, they will see, hey, okay, this is a toothbrush, like we go for the environment friendliness, and this toothbrush is helping in our cause. So definitely people will have an inclination, okay, we can try that. That is an eco-friendly toothbrush for that. Second, we can see the understanding your customer. So the image we can see, the image over here we can see, we have the Batman over here, we have some Cinderellas over here. So we have to understand the customer. Each customer is different. If you are able to understand the customer very well, each customer has their own needs for that. So understanding your customer is definitely a big boon for every organization, for SMEs, if they want to grow and boost sales performance and the business for that. Research your competitors. So as we see, SMEs, one SME is not only SME that is operating in a market. There will be many SMEs having similar products. There will be many big companies having maybe similar products. So what you can do for this, you have to research your competitors. You have to research what your competitors are doing, what business growth they are doing, what strategies they are using. It will help to determine how well you're performing based on your growth rate. It always helps to showcase your and find out the plus and minus of you and retrospect yourself. Okay, I did this, but why I failed? I did this, why I passed? It helps you prepare better. If you do this research, it will help you to definitely meet the challenges that will be coming in the near future for that, or survive in the present. Digital transformation. Advanced technology will facilitate communication with employees working remotely, provide new ways to engage with customers. As we see, the online medium is the new norm. People are working from home. People are working from home and operating the big machineries. They are doing all the work that nobody has had expected earlier. Like it can be done virtually also. Earlier, I can say people were hesitant, companies were hesitant, like how the technology work or the work that they are doing, can it be done virtually, can it be done digitization way, can it be automated, can it have more advanced technologies? Yes, it can be done, and pandemic has shown that like nothing is impossible. If organization and people wants to survive, it will be the survival of the fittest. The people who transform using a digital transformation, they are surviving for that. Companies closed down for that because they were not able to innovate. They were not able to quickly make the transformation that this pandemic brings in. So advanced technologies is going to facilitate the communication for the employees irrespective of their work locations. So all we have seen a concept of digitization, digital world, digital economy, digital currencies, digital money. So why this digitalization is so important? Why digitalization can be important for recovery and sustaining growth? So as we see in our diagram, digitization helps in different aspects. If we see, digitization helps build skill sets for future, including updating youth education. The youth is the future of the workforce. What they're going to learn today, they're going to implement tomorrow in that. Support technology by the private sector. Irrespective of the private and the public sector, each area knows, government knows, organizations which are run by the multinational groups, they know this is, digitization is the new force. It has been supported by both the sectors, promoting lifelong learning and counteracting the brain drain. Digitization is going to help you in lifelong learning and also the brain drain for that. Many people, I can take an example for that. Like many people migrate, go to different cities for that to look for the areas that they can learn in. They go to different places to actually do that work. They brained in for that. If the digitization is there with your company itself, this aspect can be reduced. People will be learnful for that. People will learn. People will know. In our my existing place, existing company itself, I have the growth opportunities for that. I don't have to look for anything else for that. If my digitization process is more, we can surely grow in present and future scenarios. Digitalization strengthens regional and cross-border collaboration. As we can see, the whole world is knowing the cross-border trading example that we discussed earlier. The products or the companies that are operating in specific region, there is no border for that. So it digitization helps in strengthening regional cross-border digital collaboration with that. It improves the ecosystem for the startups. So startups, uh, this point we can see, if startup has a good digitization process automation, it helps them. It helps to remove their redundant work. It helps to build their automation framework for that. The work that is going to be done by 10 people, the digitization can help them have more work being done for them, not because of the number of hours being put by the people, because of the process simplification, because of the automation processes that are there. It can help the ecosystem startup for that. In this slide, we can see the most common actions for digital transformation. So how to do the digital transformation thing? Since many people are not aware, the SMEs have not that much access for that. So how to do for the digital transformation actions? In this slide, we can see shifting to online and digital tools, reducing paperwork. We can go online via the mediums of the different online apps that we are having applications. Facebook, Twitter, example over here we see using social media for marketing and sales, recruiting, using data analytics for risk assessment, sales and business trends. So online medium for these actions can be done. If you see an example from the country perspective, India ranks 44th in World Digital Competitive Ranking. Digitalization of SMEs can add 158 to 216 billion of GDP to 2024 for that. As we see, pandemic has accelerated digital transformation across the spectrum, and some of the changes are here to stay, and it will be there to stay. As we see, businesses has adopted a remote workforce, virtual sales, digitalization of customer service, sales service models. Consumers have gone to the online shopping, video streaming happens, digital payments, e-education, e-fitness. As we see the education part, commonly you can see the all hours of schools and colleges were working and we was there in online mode for that. Consumers try and go for the online things now rather than going for physical shopping and all, because it is convenient to them. They know, like, within a click of a thing, like I can order one thing and it will be delivered to me instantly. Government has played an important role for this by information dissemination, contact tracing, digitization of medical records for that. So as we see, the vaccination program that happens, it had the digitalization aspect in that also. For this, people no need to go just physically and get the appointments, and that using the online mode. Like for example, in India we use one COVID app for registration to the COVID vaccination, and it was very simple for that. Government made that happen to the people, and it helped in controlling this pandemic also for this. In this, we can see the Indian SMEs perspective. So gearing to adapt new cutting technologies on an ambitious note, 78 percentile SMEs wish to become first adopters of new technologies for growth. People want to grow. Organization wants to grow. Hence, this 78 percentile, we can see they want to be the first adopters of technology for growth. As we know, early birds take worms. So whoever will be the first adopter of the technology, they are going to get the benefit for that. Adoption of cloud. We can see 90% of SMEs feel cloud adoption is imperative for business growth. 87% SMEs look for cloud analytics, mobile solutions to enhance operations. 48% Indian CIOs are using hybrid cloud. So if I just want to just give you an aspect of cloud, what cloud all about. Cloud is not the what we see like the environment at all. It is like the a technology where all your physical or infrastructure part and all your operations and all the technology aspect is been moved to one particular server, which controls and which helps you out with all the services and the operations need that you need for that. So that's why many companies are adopting for the cloud services for that. If you see the growth strategies path, 76% of the SMEs feel launching new tech products will help them achieve growth. Now we see the innovation and the new product uh, bring entry to the market is going to be the eye catcher for all the people. People need a change. So the growth strategies says 76 SMEs, personal SMEs feel launching new tech products will help them achieve growth. 74% SMEs thought taking innovative steps to become market ready. They want to innovate and survive. Be flexible. So small business enterprises are flexible. However, the disruption that comes with this and pandemic make it necessary to be flexible and ready for future course. Earlier, people were rigid. People were not don't want to change. They wanted to have, okay, if I'm going in straight line, okay, my line is perfect. I don't want to deviate. Now we need to be flexible. We need to change as per the current of the course. Only then we will be able to survive. We have to be flexible. Organizations has to be flexible. Here I will take one case study example. Millet Street Health Foods. It is a startup at Aurangabad, Maharashtra in India, that is working on millets, jowar, bajra, and ragi. Specialty of Treat Health Foods is that gluten-free, protein and rich fiber, ready-to-eat products and ready-to-cook products. Products are focused on nutrition, health, and food. Offer new health-based products matching with prevailing environmental factors. What new they did? They reach out to consumer and dealers through emails, thereby saving costs of promotions. They took the innovation part for that, the digitalization part, the pandemic phase where they were not able to reach out physically. They use the innovation online part, reaching out to them. Thus, they save on their cost promotion and they continue to run their business. Over here, we can see the some information on the Nutri millets. They have some different products. On the right side, we can see Laddu 250 gram round, uh, Vita Mills packet, net weight around 100 1100 grams. The benefits they mention over there: build immunity, 0% gluten or no wheat, no preservatives, high dietary fiber, rich in protein, keeps your tummy happy and body keeps your tummy happy and body healthy. Everyone wants a good health. If health is there, everyone will be able to survive and work. So thus, they made the emphasis on two aspects. One, to showcase like their product is healthy, and also they use the digitalization process for keeping their business grow and online and keep it running. So the conclusions that we can see what SMEs has to do: be ready to change. If you are ready to change and adopt, you are going to survive. As we say, survival of the fittest. I said earlier in my slide also. If you are able to survive, you are able to change. You will be able to face the other future courses of this pandemic and other challenges that will may be coming. Size any opportunities to survive and growth. You have to see the opportunities in every diversity and every challenges. There is an hidden opportunity that you have to see, size it, survive and grow. Make products conducive to environment. People want the products to be environment friendly. Comments have specifically mentioned they want to go for the products that are environment specifically. It should not be a hazards to the environment. For that, go digital. You can see the digitalization has improved a lot of lives of the SMEs, organization, and the people. File alternate suppliers. You don't have to depend on the one supplier. Find the backups for that so that it helps you survive. Develop networks and partnership. The networking and the partnership helps definitely. A friend in need is friend indeed, I can say. If your network is good, you're surely going to get benefited for that, and not only in surviving but helping other things and in future aspects for that. I end my slide over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Thanks for sharing your insightful presentation and thoughts. And it was really very impressive to hear how SMEs could build resilience during the pandemic. And you are also shown kind of examples how SMEs could find a different avenues by adopting the new strategies and technologies. And I also see one of your examples, which you have shown from Indian startup that is focusing on the business on millet treat health
Yeah.
foods on their digital adoption. and also focusing on health and nutrients, which is very, very important these days. And it was really eye-opening examples. And without further ado, now I will open the floor for questions from the viewers. And I could see the question from Dr. Hassan Mohalal, and I'm not sure which country he's from, but the question goes like, what skills really required by SMEs in pandemic? I think it's very general. Maybe you can just give your
Okay.
thoughts on that. Yeah.
Sure. So, thanks, Sasan, for your question. So, as I said, the skills that are required by SME in pandemic, they need they need they need to have the certain aspects of flexible aspects. They need to learn the digitization aspects. As I mentioned in my presentation, also, people should know how the processes and the digitization is going to help them out. If I give you a simple example, now people uses online mode for the payments for that. So they need to have the digitalization aspects. They should know, they should have the skills to use the online mode. They should know how to use those tools and the options that are available with them. Since tools are there for a very long time, but people should know how to use it. Only then it will be helpful for them.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan. I think your focus is to focus more on the digitalizations. I think that's going to be helpful for SMEs for this pandemic, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, in continuation of that, I have a few other questions. As I explained in my introductions, so according to the OECD, up to one third of SMEs could go bust within 3 months of the pandemic began in their countries. So, how to translate this notion of resilience into viable strategies for business, particularly when we concern about the SMEs during this kind of crisis?
Okay, so I got it. So uh, for this, we can. I will give answers in my 8 point strategy for these. So they have to ensure to the extent possible that policies support focuses on viable existing companies and startup. Reboot startup policies to enhance the potential of innovative new ventures for recovery. Allow processes of creative destruction to take their course while supporting second chance entrepreneurship and safeguarding just say transition. Include a strong focus on digitalization, as I said, of the SMEs and new firms as a cornerstone for recovery. Take actions to improve the resilience of SMEs, startups, and scale ups. Strengthen the forward looking capacity, resilience, and responsiveness of SME and entrepreneurship policy frameworks. Ensure recovery programs like Build Back Better reflect the circumstances and the perspectives of SMEs and entrepreneurship, and also the considering the unique challenges and opportunities the SME and entrepreneurship policy responses COVID-19, it should be monitored and evaluated. So these 8 point strategy I would suggest for this.
Thank you. Thanks for your insight on that. In continuation of my questions, the another next question comes up on the kind of a supply chain side. So if you look at one of the factors making SMEs become more vulnerable, especially during this kind of crisis, is their supply chain, because it's kind of a longer and more complex, especially when it goes to the global level. So what we could learn from this crisis, so what we could prepare for another kind of crisis when we look at the SMEs.
Right. So over here we can see the impact of COVID-19 is there irrespective of the global boundaries, that is national, regional, local economies. And it is propelling the governments to rethink their industrial policies and the production processes and the length of global value chains. Consideration is that consideration has been given to the opportunities associated with reshoring strategic industries. So how it going to help, like doing so in this in raw material, for example, could reactivate rural economies as host for these industry. Beneficial to rural economies can be potential job created if the manufacturing sector uses and produces services in addition to goods. Greater emphasis on local production processes that can favor shorter lead times and shorten supply chains, and making these more sustainable by reducing carbon emissions. A popular point with the consumer and the governments.
Thank you. Well noted on that point that we should be more localized to
Right.
avoid this kind of crisis, especially when we to get exposed on the supply chain risk management point of view. Well noted, Mr. Tushar, on that point. Now I would like to focus on the government side. Especially when you look at it, SMEs, they're always kind of dependent for government sector, what kind of like a subsidiary when they really establish their SMEs. So especially this kind of crisis, if you could look at it like a retail, hospitality, and food sectors, they're really like hit very hardest during this pandemic, and where many SMEs are doing business globally. So from this point, how do you think, like from your perspective, how government could help to recover their businesses?
Right. So as you rightly said, the retail, hospitality, and food services are hugely impacted for from this pandemic. We can see uh, like few points I have for this answers for that. So we can see like uh, we ensure that SMEs and entrepreneurs and the organizations that represent them are consulted and included in government decision making process regarding the policies, responses to the pandemic, and in the development of recovery plans. They have to consult the SMEs for that. Ensure effective and inclusive multi-level governance mechanisms. Thirdly, we can see rapid delivery of SME and entrepreneurship policy support by simplifying access to support and ensuring effective digital delivery systems while safeguarding accountability and effectiveness. Rethink on the policy approaches with respect to self-employed entrepreneurships. Avoid SME over indebtedness and SME solvency crisis by exploring equity and other non-debt supports. Ensure that support measures are inclusive and reach vulnerable segments of the SME population, including women and minority entrepreneurs. Prepare responsible exit strategies for emergency liquid support measures. So these 7 points I can say government could do to help SMEs.
Well taken that point. It should be more kind of inclusive. So if you want to have like a sustainable business, so definitely the government should focus on an inclusive basis of model. So well noted on that. And my next question comes on one of your presentation that you have mentioned like a business model innovation from your presentation. So could you please elaborate a little bit further and give kind of one or two examples of what SMEs could do?
Sure. So I specifically mentioned this business model innovation part for that. I will give you a very good example and well known example of very big organization that is there today. That is Amazon. Amazon was a startup in 1995. They started with a garage. Now it is a big organization. But what made them stand it out from a startup SME to a well-known big organization? So as I said, Amazon launched in 1995 as Earth's biggest bookstore. If you see after 22 years, that bookstore is now a leader in cloud computing and can deliver groceries to your doorstep, to producing some award-winning series for that. It is a $1 trillion organization that has achieved the growth by continuously innovating itself. As I recall, one of the professor, Mr. Greg Collier from Northeastern College, he mentioned specifically, Amazon is amazing at new business model development. they look at themselves from customer driven perspective. This approach has helped Amazon scale because rather than rely on a revenue stream on one stream, the company continuously asks what's next. This has allowed leadership to reiterate on the business model and think approach to innovate repeatedly. And this success has incredibly helped Amazon where are they today. They constantly ask and innovate using their business model approach. One more example I can tell you from the video game industry. So if I recall, the video game industry started with very heavy boxes with huge wire tangles around with them, and then they innovated, and now we can see the video game industries has immensely improved by innovating how we can remove those wired gadgets. All things are done now using the Bluetooth technologies and the innovative part for that. So this is the second example that I can say.
Thank you for those examples. My next question comes in terms of like a productivity connection, especially when it comes to the SMEs. Definitely, increasing SMEs productivity will give a kind of path for their sustainable recovery. So, from your perspective or from your experience, could you please share any kind of example when it connects to the productivity?
Right. So, as you said, like increasing productivity ensures part towards sustainable recovery. There are many best practices and lessons from the policies undertaken in different areas. I can say, like, the primary role of public sector in supporting venture capitalists is to reduce the risk and cost of private equity finance. For that, taxation should not be imposed a disproportionately heavy burden on SMEs. For that, use of information technologies provide opportunities for reducing bureaucratic burdens, including the SMEs program. Technology diffusion program should in particular have mechanism for assessment which can guide and improve their operational and management on a continuing basis. We can take an example like the United States has one program effectively stimulating the quality in diffusion processes. One more example I can take is of Germany, where they have sophisticated institutional setup for catalyzing interaction between existing actors and in national innovation systems. For that, so if I say like several governments have sought to enhance the quality of owner managers of SMEs, either by encouraging training or by providing access to advisory and consultancy services. The most extensive assistance is provided by Japan, which has both a highly developed system of advisory services and SME colleges for that. Similarly, we can say other countries, UK, Italy, have similar also implemented similar interesting schemes for that, uh, for removal of subsidies, collecting of information from SMEs for that.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. So now my next question comes related with your presentations again. So you have been mentioning like a new business innovation model or adopting the digital technologies. It could be kind of ways the SMEs should look at it for resilience or rebuilding their recovery. So could you please give some example of a new like a sales model which could really adopt for the SMEs, especially when we look at from the Asian SMEs point of view?
Right. So as I discussed in one of my presentation slides, I gave one example of Domino's, specifically the pizza delivery thing. So the points over here, we can see the new sales model. They have to start is using contactless deliveries to make their services available. Reason being, people are scared, and they want to take proper precautions for uh, COVID appropriate behavior, I can say, for that. So one sales model is definitely the contactless deliveries, not respective to the food and other things also we can see. for that, the products that have been manufactured by the companies. Second thing, we can see asking employees to learn new skills to support changes to the business. Employees has to upgrade. It is not just the organization that is going to upgrade themselves. It is the employees, as I said, they are the heart of the any organization. So any challenges that are coming up with this pandemic, organizations will be prepared if employees are prepared. So they have to learn new skills for that. Adopting new revenue streams such as converting production lines to make hand sanitizer is in high demand. Earlier, I can't recall like hand sanitizer or this is that much in demand. People know like the product is there, but people were not using it. So since this pandemic gave the new uh, opportunities, I can say the we have to see like what are the new revenue streams for that. Other thing we can see the new safety measure like such as installing plexus barriers between staff and customers and adopting new technology process as we have discussed like digitization. It has to be there and innovate, and we have to keep updating ourselves. That will be the new sales model.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for that explanations. Now we are going to have a last question. That's on like informal SMEs. So far, we have been focusing on the established SMEs, but also we need to look at the informal SMEs. There are a lot of informal SMEs in the market or in the different countries. So, from your perspective, how this or what could be kind of advice for these informal SMEs when you consider for the post-pandemic or a recovery?
Right. So informal SMEs. So first thing definitely they have to leverage the technology to reach new customers or provide listed value proposition. So technology is there. It was there since last couple of years. It is not like pandemic has introduced new technologies, but technology is there. But SMEs has to use that technology. They have to leverage that technology to the best usage. A recent example, as we all see, the organizations are being shut down. They were being made to operate from their home only. The people who were using, or the organizations who were using those technologies are still surviving. So they have to leverage on new technology and provide a distinctive value proposition for any of the products that they are using for that. They have to develop clear markets and strategies for that. They have to drive their sales efficiency, and then they have to develop the team skills and capabilities and the leadership, of course. So combination of both team and the leadership empowerment will definitely help them, the new SMEs.
Thank you, Mr. Tushar. Thanks for your good explanation on that final questions. In the interest of time, we are unable to take further questions. And thank you very much, Mr. Tushar, once again for your valuable insights. And I believe all our viewers found your presentation and also the explanations very useful. It seems that post-pandemic would require SMEs to be more flexible and the refocusing of SME's business model while putting even more emphasis on collaboration and partnership. Yes, to the viewers, please do not forget to leave your comments and questions on our YouTube channel below. The digital platform has given us advantage in the form of perpetual discussion that we could have on this topic we have discussed today. We will try to get back to you as soon as we could get with our response to your questions. I'd like to express again our gratitude to Mr. Tushar Sharma for sharing his knowledge and experience with us. Finally, thank you so much for your participation. This APO productivity talk will be held every week featuring leading experts. So please subscribe this APO channel and stay tuned. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.